want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. They fit their disease. Rage is like the wind.
Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to this very special edition Thursday afternoon stream. And we are live right now on 4 different platforms across 7 different accounts. And we certainly have a lot to go over going into Sunday's All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view that is All Out in the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. As of course, many of you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. And I'm actually taking a little bit more of a toned down approach right now because I did say, if you were in the chat for the AEW Dynamite watch-along last night, Sarah Habka, she's currently in the chat right now, and it was her and Earl Cole that had me as their guest on the Dynamite watch-along, where we reacted to everything in real time that took place last night on AEW Dynamite in the Now Arena in Chicago. Plenty of material to go over last night. Not a bad show. Not a bad show. They clearly had to do a lot of rewrites because of the hurricane and, of course, a couple of illnesses, and some wrestlers were out attending the memorial service to One Wyndham Rotunda. We have plenty of material to go over, and obviously before we get into what we're going to get into, I want you guys to make sure that you follow me on social media, whether it be on X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram. That is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. Go and check out both of those links. They are in the current description of the stream if you're watching on YouTube or if you are watching on Facebook. Of course, you can add me on my personal Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please make sure that you follow me on Facebook, because you will see that my email is on the DJ Storms Posse Facebook business page. Of course, my email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. You can also like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, go and check it out right now. Also, shout out to my girl, Brittany K. She is a wonderful human being. She is a very, very, very big supporter of the DJ Storms brand, a loyal supporter of the channel, good friend of mine. She does beautifully crafted designs and drawings on her iPad from scratch. She is super talented. So if you guys want wrestler drawings, wrestler designs, potentially new X Abbeys and or new X banners, she is your girl. You can follow her on X at BrittanyK5150 and on Instagram at BrittanyK Designs. Of course, shout out to PWP Nation, created by my boy Jay Aletto. Shout out to him. The link to the PWP Nation website and, of course, the PWP Nation Facebook page, which you can catch my posts on every single day. I at least post one caption with a picture on there, and it gets the conversation flowing. It gets some people talking because I have that power. I have that power. I am DJ Storms, and I am absolutely fucking inevitable. Of course, make sure, no matter where you're watching it from, you hit the like button. No matter where you're watching it from, whether it be on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, hit the like button and share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. It is extremely vital that you share the stream out so that way we can get as wide of an outreach as possible. We can get as many people in here as possible. It is incredibly vital that you do so because everybody needs a little dose of DJ Storms in their lives because I make people's lives better. That's just the way it goes. That's how good I really am. Of course, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're watching on my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, and please make sure you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, you already know it is the best time to be on YouTube because it's the only time that you can get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what's coming next because we're going to light it up right here on the stream, on the rundown, with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like hot, fresh Chinese fried rice, the beef style fried rice, because that shit right there, that is just so good. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. You already know the drill. I actually wish I was starting the stream off on more of a positive note, but I actually wanted to go in depth a little bit more on the happenings during All In, and I'm pretty sure that many of you already know what I'm talking about. Jack Perry and CM Punk seem to have been the talk of the town, and I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more toned down, keep it a little bit more civil, because I really want to get my point across here. So apparently this all started a couple of weeks ago on Collision. Where Jack Perry, he wanted to use real glass in a segment to sell this feud with Hook over the FTW championship because they were going to have a match at All In, and that's exactly what happened. So he wanted to use real glass. He got it approved by management, according to Brian Alvarez, NPW Insider. CM Punk went out of his way to talk to Jack Perry because he was looking out for his health. And he was concerned for his physical well-being, saying that you do not need to use real glass. It would have came off just as effective if you used breakaway glass or sugar glass. It would have been just as effective, and it really wouldn't have made a difference. Now, personally, I was on CM Punk's side right there. It really wouldn't have made a difference if we would have gotten real glass or sugar glass. Apparently, there was a altercation between the two backstage a couple of weeks ago at Collision over this. And I'm not sure of the full-blown details regarding this physical altercation. It just kind of came out with no legitimate details. We got a lot more details on what happened regarding All In and the backstage altercation that occurred before the main show started at All In. But apparently, I don't know what exactly happened. Jack Perry got offended by this, or CM Punk got offended. There was just a lot of tension, a lot of hostility. My first question regarding this scenario that took place a few weeks ago, and we're not going to waste any time. We're getting right into it. My first question here is, in regards to Jack Perry, where is this coming from? Where exactly is this coming from? How exactly did this arise? Because in the near 5 years that AEW has been around, Jack Perry's an AEW original. He's been there since day one. He's one of the brightest young stars in the company. He has not had a single issue up until now. He has probably been one of the most down-to-earth, one of the most genuine, one of the most laid-back guys that the company has ever had. He has not complained. He has not bitched. He has not pushed back. He has not caused one single issue. Why now? Why now? That's my first question. Why now? Where is this coming from? Is this really who he is? How does he go from being a layback, drama-free kid to being a spoiled brat? An entitled prick, in a sense. But why the hostility? Why all of a sudden this tension? Why this drama? Now, granted, if he got it approved, fine. There should have been some communication between management and CM Punk, because if CM Punk's the locker room leader and he's going out to look after Jack Perry's health, then there should have been some sort of communication between management and Punk to let CM Punk know that, hey, we approve this for Jack. Now, if CM Punk did not know, that is not his fault. That is not his fault. It is not his job to go out of his way to learn what is approved by management for other talent and what is not, because ultimately it doesn't concern him. But if he's going out of his way to check on Jack Perry and look out for his well-being, I don't really understand where this pushback and where this tension with Jack Perry is arising from. I'm not really sure why Jack Perry all of a sudden went into defense mode. Now, granted, we don't know the verbiage that was used. We do not know the tone in which these two men spoke with. We do not know the specifics because we were not physically there a couple of weeks ago at Collision. But on the surface, it really seems like Jack Perry is coming off like a bitch. It really seems as though Jack Perry is coming off like an entitled piece of shit, which is just so unlike him. It's so unlike him. Where did this come from? It's just so confusing. So we had that, and it kind of got brushed to the side going into All In, and no one was really talking about it going into All In, and we just wanted to get to the show because we wanted to see what AEW was going to bring to the table. So we get to the show. And Jack Perry and Hook had an FTW rules match on the 0 Hour pre-show for the FTW Championship. And Jack Perry pulled the cameraman into him, looked into the camera, looked dead into the camera, got real close, and he goes, "You see that? Real glass. Cry me a river." He ended up getting suplexed onto the glass. They continued the fight out into the ring, and the match ultimately ended with Hook tapping out Jack Perry to the Red Rum, and Hook is a 2-time FTW champion. So then, according to reports, CM Punk saw this. Samoa Joe saw this. Tony Khan saw this. And CM Punk was legitimately waiting in Gorilla because his match with Samoa Joe was going to kick off the show. CM Punk was waiting in Gorilla for Jack Perry to come back through the curtain. Tony Khan was seeing all of this go down. CM Punk said, "You know I can beat your ass," according to these reports from Alvarez and Sapp and PW Insider. He said, "You know I can beat your ass." He then pie-faced Jack Perry. I believe he put him in a chokehold as well. That's what's going around. This fight actually had to be broken up by Samoa Joe. Tony Khan was there as well. He was sitting right in Gorilla. Now, we don't know if he saw the beginning stages of this fight. We don't know if he was looking at the monitor and then he looked up and saw the aftermath of the fight. But apparently, this altercation took place right before CM Punk and Samoa Joe had their match to kick off the main show. Samoa Joe had to play peacekeeper. Samoa Joe separated the two, and CM Punk was hell-bent on not going out there. CM Punk was hell-bent on not going out there, and Joe actually had to talk CM Punk into going out there. Now, I didn't really catch it, but apparently CM Punk had somewhat of a pissed-off look on his face. CM Punk had somewhat of a pissed-off look on his face throughout the match. They did the match, and that was pretty much that. Then apparently, Jack Perry was escorted out of the building before Punk. Punk was talking to security, and he said that he thought he should leave the building. CM Punk apparently had a heated confrontation with Tony Khan as well before he left the building. He had a heated confrontation with Tony Khan. He pretty much said in the heat of the moment, with all this drama, that he hates this place and he quit AEW, or quote unquote, he wants to quit AEW, quote unquote. He wants out. This was just a lot to unravel, a lot to unpack. But here's what I will say. For starters, up until CM Punk put his hands on Jack Perry, CM Punk was 100% in the right. CM Punk was the victim here. CM Punk was a victim of what Jack Perry was doing up until Punk got physical. If CM Punk had not put his hands on Jack Perry, I'm sure a lot of people right now would be more on his side. A lot of people would be looking at this situation in a different light. And Jack Perry would ultimately come off like the spoiled piece of shit, throwing a temper tantrum, acting petty, and trying to make shit all about himself. Because up until what he did on the 0 Hour, up until what he did, things were private. Things were private, and the wrestling media was just up in a buzz over what was going on. Nothing was made public. It was just the wrestling media. Jack Perry decided to make it public and shoot on CM Punk with that comment on the 0 Hour pre-show. So Jack Perry right then and there took matters into his own hands, and he told some people that he was actually going to do it. I don't know how anyone okayed it. He probably told the Bucks or Kenny Omega or someone along those lines. But Jack Perry was starting shit for absolutely no reason. He was trying to make shit all about himself, and he was honestly being an unprofessional piece of garbage. And up until Punk got physical, Punk was ultimately in the right. All Punk needed to do was be professional. All Punk needed to do was be the locker room leader and lead by example. But instead, he brought himself down to Jack Perry's level, and he escalated the scenario when he could have stopped the scenario. He could have ended it. He could have stopped himself, especially considering that he's been under a microscope. He's been under a microscope ever since the All Out incident last year, which we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of. It's just so mind-boggling. You would think that Jack Perry would realize that this is much bigger than him, because no one's bigger than what is going on with All Elite Wrestling. And Punk, all he needed to do was throw his hands up and say, I am not going to get involved in this. He should have taken it to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan should have been the one to handle it. Hell, Jack Perry could have done the same exact thing. It's so weird because CM Punk, what he said, how he works with children, he was ultimately right, but then he's acting like a hypocrite because he's acting like a child too. CM Punk would have been looked at as the good guy in this scenario if he would have just had some self-control. Just because someone may disagree with you, that doesn't give you the right to fight them. Now, I understand that a lot of scenarios happened like this in the 80s and the 90s, but this is 2023. When will professionalism finally prevail? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what business this is, whether it be the wrestling business or the accounting business or the football business, the baseball business, the nursing industry, the doctor industry, hospital industry, whatever it may be, therapy industry or construction dude industry, whatever it may be, professionalism is the one thing that I always preach. When it comes to matters like this, professionalism is key. Professionalism is important, and professionalism should be upheld. All CM Punk had to do was act like a professional. It's not so much Punk is to blame and Perry is not. Perry is just as much to blame, if not more than Punk. But at the end of the day, you and only you can decipher and can determine how you will react to certain things. Act, don't react. And CM Punk reacted in the worst way possible. I don't know how Tony Khan let this completely slip over his head. It makes me wonder who is really running the company, if CM Punk is realistically trying to do all of this to try and get away with certain things and abuse his power. It really makes me question if not only did Jack Perry reveal his true colors, but CM Punk revealed his true colors too. CM Punk legitimately came off like he does not care about AEW. He does not care about Tony Khan. He doesn't respect Tony Khan. And he's honestly coming off like an egomaniac in this scenario. Perry's no better. You realize how damaging to his reputation this is? This should have been a weekend where we should have been celebrating. Should have been a weekend where we should have been celebrating, and we should have been appreciating what AEW has done for this industry. We should have been mourning and celebrating and appreciating the lives that were lost. We lost Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. This was supposed to be a day that was celebrated, and so many people at All In and probably All Out too are going to be paying tribute to Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. And CM Punk and Jack Perry made it all about themselves. It's honestly pathetic. It really is pathetic. I don't understand. I honest to God, I really don't understand. And according to Sports Illustrated, apparently CM Punk and Jack Perry have both been suspended. Now, do I believe that CM Punk legitimately wants to get out of this place? I don't know. I don't necessarily believe that he wants to walk away from a $5 million, $6 million contract, especially considering that he's pretty much the face of Collision. Without CM Punk, there is no AEW Collision. I completely understand his frustrations with not wanting to deal with the childish drama, but at the same point in time, it's kind of ironic because he's the one that started all of this drama. He's the one that started all of this drama with the way that he reacted to certain scenarios. At the end of the day, all he needed to do was speak to Tony Khan in a respectful manner, talk to him about what was going on, and ultimately sit down with these people like men, like mature adults, like people that actually have the best intentions for AEW in mind, work this shit out, and move on. It's unbelievable. No matter how you slice this, there is absolutely no one that was in the right here. And Samoa Joe, out of everyone in this entire scenario, Samoa Joe came off like the most professional guy. If anything, Samoa Joe should be the one running the company. Some reports were saying that Jack threw the first punch. Some people were saying that CM Punk pie-faced Jack Perry. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. Perry really damaged his reputation, and CM Punk just further dumped more shit on him, in addition to what happened with the Hangman comment a few weeks ago and Brawl Out last year. Sad. It's sad. Both of these men made last weekend, made it all about themselves. All about themselves. And how great that show was. All In was a great show. And All Out ultimately could be the same. Now, the build, let's be real here. The build is non-existent. The show was literally pieced together within a day. The show was pieced together within a day, and half of these matches are Ring of Honor matches. But in the end, we could ultimately end up eating our words, and this show could be a great show, just like All In. On a week where Tony Khan could potentially have 2 back-to-back banger pay-per-views in a row, all we're talking about is CM Punk and Jack Perry and 50 different versions of the same scenario. And once again, a backstage brawl is the center of attention for AEW. How is that fair to Darby Allin and Swerve Strickland, who got to work alongside Christian Cage and Sting in front of 80,000 people? How is that fair to Konosuke Takeshita, who had the biggest moment of his career thus far, pinning Kenny Omega in front of the largest paid attendance crowd in wrestling history? How is that fair to FTR, who may very well have solidified themselves as the greatest tag team of all time? How is that fair to Orange Cassidy and his big moment that he got at All In? How is that fair to MJF and Adam Cole and the phenomenal story that they told in the main event? How is that fair to any of those men and women on All In that busted their ass to make that show special, to make that show the best show that AEW's ever put on, probably the best show of the year, one of the best professional wrestling events ever? And yet, Punk and Jack Perry could not help themselves. If what happened a few weeks ago was done and over with, move the fuck on. Why did Jack Perry have to instigate the scenario? Jack Perry was wrong for starting it, and CM Punk was wrong for adding on top of it. Now both men are suspended. I'm glad that both men are suspended, because then it showcases that Tony Khan is going to lay down the hammer and say, no matter who you are not going to get away with shit like this. It's a very, very sad scenario on a weekend where we should have been celebrating professional wrestling and what this event truthfully meant for the industry as a whole. And CM Punk and Jack Perry made it all about themselves with their juvenile, delinquent attitudes and their massive egos. And it really revealed their true colors. Now both men are suspended. I genuinely hope, I don't have too much hope, but I really do hope that Tony Khan will orchestrate a meeting and really lay the hammer down and make sure that everyone knows that no one should ever go forth with what happened, and no one is above AEW. He will not tolerate behavior like that. And the craziest thing about it all is the fact that we didn't hear one single issue between Punk, Omega, Page, or the Bucks, and their matches went on back to back to back. It's absolutely mind-boggling, but yet Perry was the one that instigated drama. I don't get it. I honest to God don't get it. Hangman had a scenario where he was called out by CM Punk after Collision. It's unbelievable. He was called out after Collision by CM Punk, and there was no issue between Hangman and Punk, and they went on right after each other. Their matches were back to back. And yet there was no issue. There was no drama between Punk, Kenny, Page, or the Bucks. None. None whatsoever. It's unbelievable. So it's shocking. It's honest to God shocking, to say the least. Why now? Why now? And now, according to Fightful, there's actually footage of the incident with cameras all over Wembley. I don't know. We're going to talk about All Out I'm not sure if CM Punk is going to be on the show. I mean, he could be on the show, but if he is on the show, he could very well be dropping the Real World Championship, and we could ultimately be going along with CM Punk and Jack Perry both getting suspended, and I hope that they do, at least for 30 days. At least for 30 days, and I really do hope that cooler heads, at some point, cooler heads have got to prevail. At some point. It's sad. It's sad. And honest to God, normally I'd be on Tony Khan's ass, but at some point I actually feel bad for him. At this point, I honestly feel bad for the guy. Because every time he does something great, every single time he puts something great out there on AEW television, something happens to divert the attention away from the great show that he delivered, and the attention is put on some type of backstage altercation. It's sad, and I feel for him. Now, All Out. Some people were saying that, oh, it looks poor, it's very, very lame, it's going to be the worst AEW pay-per-view ever, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking at this card. This doesn't look like a bad show. Now, is it worth $50? I wouldn't go that far. Now, granted, I don't think it could have been worth $50 if you weren't going to put Punk or MJF at least defending the World Championship on the show. It honestly seems like they're looking more ahead towards Grand Slam because we got a world title tournament to decide who fights MJF at Grand Slam. Now, granted, that will absolutely draw more money. That will absolutely draw people to go watch the show. But honest to God, this show feels like a setup show. Now, again, we could ultimately end up eating our words. But this show honestly feels like a setup show for Arthur Ashe. And Dylan, to answer your question, I really don't know what they're thinking. I'm not sure what they're thinking because Punk is obviously the number one draw in that company. Without CM Punk, there's no Collision. CM Punk, it's like Tony Khan is afraid to be a leader. It's like he's honest to God afraid to be a leader. I don't know what the executives at Time Warner are thinking either. It's just so bizarre. It's just so weird. It's confusing. It's frustrating. It really is. I don't know. I honest to God don't know what's going to happen, but CM Punk, he really needs to learn how to control himself. I don't know what his problem is. Is it his ego? Is CM Punk really an egotistical piece of shit? I don't understand why CM Punk cannot see the bigger picture with AEW. Is he pissed off that MJF and Adam Cole are outshining him? Because from a creative standpoint, CM Punk is not the biggest thing on AEW television. I don't understand why CM Punk can't understand that he is in a Daniel Bryan or a Bryan Danielson type role. Bryan Danielson is legitimately exactly what CM Punk should have been. And if anything, he is just as big of an acquisition, if not bigger of an acquisition, than CM Punk. It's frustrating. It really is frustrating. We'll see what happens with All Out, but ultimately, this show does not feel like a genuine pay-per-view. And Tony Khan did say on the All Out media call earlier today that he tried to make All In and All Out a bundle. He tried to make it a bundle. He couldn't do it because of the cable providers not coming to terms, the pay-per-view carriers not coming to terms with an agreement. Oh, and by the way, I'm just letting you know. WWE is not going to touch CM Punk. If CM Punk leaves, he does not need anything. He doesn't need WWE, doesn't need AEW. He's got his own little UFC commentary gig going on. At the end of the day, if CM Punk is going to come back to WWE, the only way he's ever going to go back to WWE is if he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. CM Punk will never, and I'm telling you, he will never wrestle for WWE. Especially not with this Endeavor deal. They don't need Punk. They just sold the company for how many billions? Punk is not going back to WWE. So we may as well get into this All Out card. I'm intrigued in it because I want to see some good pro wrestling. I believe about 10,000 tickets have already been sold. 10,000 tickets have already been sold, so we will see how All Out favors. They booked Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Now, I've been watching Ring of Honor. I understand not many people do. I watch Ring of Honor, and I watch it very, very consistently. If I miss it a couple weeks, then I end up catching up when I have the free time. But I do watch Ring of Honor. If you guys have been watching Ring of Honor, you will know how good Shane Taylor is. And if anything, let me tell you, until Tony Khan can actually get a bundle for these pay-per-views, I honestly think that Tony Khan should either do one of two. He should either do one of two of these things. He should either move All Out to the end of September. He should move All Out to the end of September, or he should make All Out a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. That's what he should do. That is probably the best route to go for Tony Khan, because if you're going to make two back-to-back AEW pay-per-views, it is going to be very, very, very difficult to sell two pay-per-views like this. At some point, some people are going to drop off. Some people are going to choose in the end. They're going to either choose All Out or All In. And considering how big of a show All In is, they're going to go with All In and they're going to disregard All Out. So unless he can find a way to get pay-per-view bundles, unless, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Warner Brothers, they have a streaming service. I believe it's Warner Brothers Max or something like that, or HBO Max, something along those lines. If Tony Khan can get these pay-per-views on a streaming service, then I think we're fine. If he can't, I would highly consider either moving All Out to the end of September and making All In the Labor Day tradition, or I would absolutely make All Out a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Because if you're going to do a Ring of Honor pay-per-view in March, Ring of Honor pay-per-view in July, then you want to do one in September, and then December, that's 4 solid Ring of Honor pay-per-views right there you can absolutely go forth with. Quality over quantity, it would make it a lot easier. Half of these matches are Ring of Honor matches, so it really wouldn't have made too much of a difference anyway. Really no build. This is just a match for Samoa Joe to get on the show, because Samoa Joe on the pay-per-view is good for business. If you guys don't know who Shane Taylor is, you will find out. Shane Taylor is a phenomenal, and I mean a phenomenal professional wrestler. He really is. Shane Taylor is probably one of the best big men that the company has right now. He is incredibly agile. He is very, very hard-hitting, and I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing what he does against Joe. Now, it's clear as day that Samoa Joe is not losing. Samoa Joe is legitimately 2 months away from breaking Jay Lethal's record as the longest reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion of all time. Are you really going to take that away from him? I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't take that away from him. At the end of the day, Samoa Joe, right now, he's on the cusp of making history. You've already taken him this far. If you've already taken him this far and he's breaking the record within a legitimate 2 months, why bother taking it off of him? So at the end of the day, Samoa Joe ultimately is going to end up retaining. That's another thing with this card. It's a good-looking card, at least on paper from a wrestling standpoint. Not worth the $50, but it's ultimately overly predictable. I think there's only about 1 or 2 matches on this card that are not predictable. And I think it's probably the 2 main matches on this show. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but ultimately this is a very predictable match. Should be good. Should be very good. ultimately Samoa Joe is going to retain. Samoa Joe is absolutely breaking Jay Lethal's record. Samoa Joe is going to have that luxury. And then when Mark Briscoe gets back from injury, which I hope is very soon, Mark Briscoe is going to be the guy to beat Joe. There is nobody better. Nobody better to beat Samoa Joe than Mark Briscoe. Listen, Shane Taylor's great. I love Shane Taylor. He's a beast in every sense of the word, but Shane Taylor is not beating Joe. I'm not really sure who Samoa Joe fights next, to be quite honest with you. He seems like he's been running through everybody. Seems like he's running out of challengers, per se. We'll have to wait and see. But in the end, Samoa Joe will absolutely retain the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I actually got an update right here. Hang on. I actually got an update saying that Tony Khan, he wants to get Billy Starks versus Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship on the show. He really does. He really does. And that all depends. That all depends on if Billy Starks is clear from her injury. I'm not really sure what her injury is. But I guess we will find out. And Tony Khan also plans to target Mercedes Moné once she is cleared. I mean, that was pretty much a given right there. Let's be real. So, after that, we got ourselves a match that was confirmed, actually, on social media. Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata versus Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli, another Ring of Honor style match. This is one of those matches where it really does play into the fact that this show, it really is just a setup show. It really is just a setup show because this right here reeks of setup match. This honestly feels like a Dynamite match that was put on a pay-per-view. Now, what could this mean? Well, the reason why I look at this as a setup match is because ultimately the end goal here is Claudio versus Kingston. Kingston has two feuds lined up for him. It's Claudio and it's Moxley. This match with Claudio is coming one way or another. And if anything, this match could be the setup for that because where are we? Where are we in a few weeks? We're in New York. We're in New York. We're in Arthur Ashe Stadium, right across from Citi Field, in Eddie Kingston's home area. We're in Eddie Kingston's home area of New York. And you can imagine that Eddie Kingston is going to be as over as possible in there. And you know that Eddie's going to get a big hometown reaction. So if anything, this honestly feels like a setup match to get Claudio versus Kingston for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Grand Slam in front of Eddie's people. And that could very well be when Eddie finally beats Claudio. That could be when Eddie finally beats Claudio. And honestly, that would probably be the best moment for him. That would be one of the best moments possible for him. I don't think that they're going to wait until Final Battle. I think that would be way too long. Unless you want to do Kingston and Moxley going into Full Gear. Because there's a part of me that is thinking to myself that Moxley is not walking out with the International Championship. So if Moxley's not walking out with the International Championship, then ultimately Moxley and Kingston would be the route for him to go. And if Kingston beats Moxley, then he can go and fight Claudio at Final Battle. But I'm not sure if you would find a better place to do the title change with Eddie and Moxley than in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and Eddie beats Claudio. Eddie becomes the new Ring of Honor World Champion. Eddie is the perfect guy to do it. There's no other man. No other man to beat Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship except Eddie Kingston. So with that being said, maybe we see Eddie and Shibata get the win right here with Yuta being pinned. Or maybe this could be a means of setting up a rematch between Wheeler Yuta and Shibata, considering that Shibata, he took the Ring of Honor Pure Championship from Yuta back at Supercard of Honor. And he's been taking the ball and he's been running with it for the last 5 months. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I would not mind if we do see another rematch between Shibata and Wheeler Yuta. They put on a very good match back at Supercard of Honor. And then Eddie Kingston and Claudio, that's obviously all but confirmed. This could honestly swing either way. This match could honestly swing either way, but I feel as though the best route to go would be for Kingston to beat Yuta again. Kingston has a victory over Yuta on Dynamite. He has a victory over Yuta on pay-per-view. And then Kingston goes into Grand Slam against Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Championship, with Kingston ultimately getting the victory. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Yuta does get the pin over Shibata, and maybe we see Yuta get a shot at Shibata at some point. Maybe on Collision, maybe on a Rampage. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm going with Kingston and Shibata to get this victory. Kris Statlander. Kris Statlander. She is the TBS champion, and she is fighting Ruby Soho at All Out. The Outcasts apparently are still a thing. There has not been any dissension yet. I'm assuming we are really going to get the ball rolling on the Outcast descending into madness. I'm assuming we're going to get the ball rolling on that after All Out. They do have a trios match, actually. They do have a trios match on Collision in the United Center. So, Kris Statlander, we all know how good she is. We all know how good Kris Statlander is. She has had some very good matches with the TBS Championship on the line against the likes of Taya Valkyrie and the likes of Mercedes Martinez and plenty more women as well. Kris Statlander is very good at what she does, and I'm very, very happy that she's getting this run with the TBS Championship. I'm actually looking forward to this match. Even though this match has not really had too much of a build. But in the past, we have seen Statlander and Ruby Soho fight on numerous occasions. We had a great, and I mean a great, match with them in the TBS Championship tournament back in 2021. And then they put on a damn good match in the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament on Rampage. I believe it was 2 days before Double or Nothing last year. So these two have had some really good chemistry, and I honestly believe in front of this crowd, in front of the Chicago natives, I think that Kris Statlander and Ruby Soho are really going to bring their A game here. I really think that they're going to bring their A game, and they are going to probably put on the best match that they've had together as a duo. Now, it's clear as day Ruby Soho is not beating Statlander. Statlander is not losing that championship. Statlander should not lose that championship until she surpasses at least 200 days with that championship. It's the same thing with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, Seth Rollins should drop the World Heavyweight Championship to Shinsuke Nakamura at Payback on Saturday. I want Shinsuke to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Nakamura is not beating Seth Rollins. That would be foolish. That would be completely foolish. You're not going to have Seth Rollins, who has waited God knows how many years to get a proper, and I mean a proper, World Heavyweight Championship reign. Rollins is legitimately just hitting his stride as the World Heavyweight Champion. Had a great match with Damian Priest. Great match with Braun Breaker. A great match on SummerSlam's card with Finn Balor. Probably the best match on SummerSlam's show. Probably the best Finn Balor-Seth Rollins match that he's had. And now all of a sudden you want him to lose the championship already? Rollins should not be losing that championship until he surpasses 200 days minimum. Same thing with Kris Statlander. You elected to have Kris Statlander beat Jade Cargill, and she ended Jade Cargill's 500-plus day reign as the TBS champion. Why would you contemplate taking the championship off of Kris Statlander this soon? Statlander should not be losing that championship at least until after Full Gear. Statlander takes the victory here. No reason for her to lose. I honestly don't know where they're going to go with her, though. It seems as though Statlander, she's great at what she does, and she's putting on some really good matches. She's had some really solid title defenses over the course of the summer, and this has probably been AEW's best summer period thus far. Yet, I don't know where she goes. Maybe Willow Nightingale? Willow Nightingale, she's been doing her own thing, and she's had some solid matches. Maybe we see Sky Blue mix it up a bit. Maybe Sky Blue gets a shot at Chris Statlander. Sky Blue, I wouldn't mind. Sky Blue has improved leaps and bounds from 2 years ago. So weird because Sky Blue was brought on to AEW literally 2 years ago, and she has been pretty much an undercard scrub. And this year, she's really broke out. She's really broke out and became a solid undercard talent. I'm not sure what she did, but she's really polished off her skills. So if she gets a shot at Statlander next, I wouldn't mind that. It honestly feels like Statlander with the TBS championships, it honestly feels like Statlander is actually above who the AEW Women's World Champion is. It's very weird, very odd. We don't even have a women's title match on this show. Statlander beats Soho, and then I do believe that we will start getting some tensions brewing between the Outcasts. Maybe Toni Storm fights Chris Statlander. Maybe we continue to see Chris Statlander fight the Outcasts. Maybe she fights Toni Storm. And listen, if we're going to get Statlander, if we get Statlander and Toni Storm, we get that booked at, Grand Slam? If we get that booked at Grand Slam, that would be one hell of a match. That would be a damn good match. So if we get Eddie and Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Championship, if we get Toni Storm and Statlander for the TBS Championship, and we get MJF versus whoever for the World Championship, that's a nice 3-match lineup right there to start off Arthur Ashe. Not bad at all. So Statlander easily is the woman to take the victory over Miss Ruby Soho. Powerhouse Hobbs. He is called out the Redeemer, Miro. And Hobbs will indeed be taking on Miro at All Out on Sunday. So, this really has not been anything that has intrigued too many people. There has not been too many people that have been interested in Hobbs and Miro, mainly because of the fact that it has not gotten too much of a build. It hasn't gotten too much importance. It hasn't gotten too much reverence. But I will say this, I am excited. I am very excited, simply because of the fact that these two individuals they're very good at what they do. Hobbs has really had a lot of standout matches, and Hobbs has become a solid mid-card talent in recent years. Miro, we all know Miro. We all love Miro. I, honest to God, would not mind if Miro is in this championship tournament. I wouldn't mind if Miro actually won the world title tournament and he was the one fighting MJF. That'd be interesting. I would not mind to see Miro in a scenario where he is potentially challenging Orange Cassidy either. Maybe Miro goes and fights Eddie Kingston for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Who knows? Maybe Miro's going to be the Ring of Honor World Champion and Miro's going to make that the most prestigious championship on the planet. Who knows? But Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro. Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro. I do not mind this. I do not mind this whatsoever. I think that this is a solid undercard match for both individuals. And if you give these two individuals some time, they're going to put on a damn good match. They're going to put on a damn good match. Although, I'm not sure if Miro would be the right guy to have MJF beat. Maybe Strong wins it. Because Roderick Strong did announce on Dynamite that Roderick Strong is indeed in the tournament. I guess it really does all depend on who's in this tournament. Maybe we see the heel turn with Adam Cole on MJF at Grand Slam. because Grand Slam, that is MJF's area. He's from Plainview, Long Island, New York, but the New York area is MJF's area as well. He's an East Coast boy. So if anything, maybe the heel turn at Grand Slam would actually turn out really, really well. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see there, but back to Hobbs and Miro. The one thing that is just a little, I don't want to say frustrating, because I'm not really frustrated, but the one thing that's a little frustrating to me about this match with Hobbs and Miro is, where do they go after this? Do they continue this match going into Grand Slam, perhaps? Do we get an unsanctioned match, perhaps, at a Rampage Grand Slam, something along those lines? Do they fight out a Wrestle Dream? I don't know. I am not sure what happens with either of them after this match. Is Miro going to be in the world title tournament? Is he going to go after Cassidy? What happens with Hobbs? Is Hobbs going to go after the TNT title again? I don't know. It's a very, very, very confusing scenario. Because I'm looking at this and I, honest to God, cannot think of a scenario where these two are going to end up having what's the word that I'm looking for? Doesn't feel like these two have a plan after All Out. I'm sure it's going to be a damn good match, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, two big guys beating the shit out of each other. That's going to be a damn good fight between Hobbs and Miro. I just don't know where they're going after All Out. It feels as though they don't really know what to do with either of these guys, so they kind of put them together. I don't want to come off like I'm complaining or I'm bitching and I'm not excited. I am excited for this match, but where do they go after this match? Doesn't really seem like there's a clear direction. In the end, I'm going with Miro to get the victory here. It's going to be a competitive fight. It's going to be a hoss fight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to say the least. It's always fun to see two big men beat the shit out of each other. It was fun to see Luchasaurus and Wardlow do it a couple months ago on Collision. We'll see what happens, but I got Miro. Taking the victory over Powerhouse Hobbs. I guess Miro has more options than Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm not really sure where you go with Powerhouse Hobbs, even though Powerhouse Hobbs seems to be a young talent that AEW has a lot of stock in. But it seems as though Miro's the guy with more options. World title, international title, potentially when Eddie Kingston beats Claudio. Maybe we see Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the Ring of Honor World Championship. There's a lot of different routes that he can go. We'll have to wait and see. But I got Miro to take down Hobbs. Shout out to Hooligram. Thank you very much for stopping on by, Hooligram. Always great to see you, and I'm glad that we got a nice, solid crowd for this Thursday afternoon. We are about halfway through this card for All Out. And if you guys missed my thoughts on the Jack Perry CM Punk scenario, please go and check that out. Because I think you guys will very much enjoy my stance. And you guys will very much enjoy what I brought to the table regarding this whole debacle with CM Punk and Jack Perry. Moving on here, we got Adam Cole and MJF. Adam Cole and MJ, they are defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. I actually said, Hooligram, that if Tony Khan is not going to find a way to get a pay-per-view bundle next year, because, listen, he did say in the All Out media call that he wanted to do the pay-per-view bundle. But the local cable and satellite providers would not allow it. They could not get on the same page. So he had to do these back-to-back pay-per-views. That I understand, but if you cannot get the bundle with these pay-per-views, then I pitch that you should either move All Out to the end of September, or you should make All Out a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Because half of these matches are Ring of Honor pay-per-views as it is. Half of this card is a Ring of Honor pay-per-view card as it is. So we got the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles being defended by Adam Cole and MJF, and apparently I heard from a little birdie on Rampage that John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order, yes, John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order, they won the Tag Team Battle Royal on Rampage. They won the Tag Team Battle Royal on Rampage, and they indeed will be fighting Adam Cole and MJF in Chicago at All Out. And to answer your question, James Punaseca, no, I am not at a motel in North Carolina. Not yet. Not yet. This is my lair. I mean, I would like to believe that you know that this is my lair that I always stream from. But I am going to be at a hotel in North Carolina tomorrow. I'm also going to the rehearsal dinner. For my cousin's wedding. It's going to be a fun night, to say the least. Going to be dancing. Going to be eating some good food. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, to say the least. Now, I was actually expecting one of two teams. The Dark Order, I was not expecting to win the Battle Royal. I actually thought that we were either going to get the Kingdom, because they had a damn good segment. They had a damn good segment with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong last night on Dynamite. I thought we were either going to get the Kingdom or we were going to get the Hardys. Now, the reason why I say the Hardys is because I figured, considering that Punk and Jack Perry are not going to be on the show, and those two are two big names that would have greatly have made the show better. Now they're not going to be on the show. At least I know Jack Perry's not going to be on the show. I would have figured that you would have put MJF and Adam Cole on the show in a big-time matchup against a big-time team. And the only two teams that came to mind were the Hardys, because the Hardys, let's be real, the Hardys are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Top 5, top 10 for sure. One of the greatest tag teams of all time is the Hardys. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that today is Jeff Hardy's birthday. So happy birthday to Jeff Hardy. He turns 46 today. Happy birthday to him. I thought it was going to be the Hardys because the Hardys are a big-time tag team. And in recent weeks, the Hardys haven't been too bad. They put on a decent little match with the Guns. They put on a very good match with the Young Bucks. They put on a solid little match with Aussie Open. I figured that they would give it to the Hardys, and we'll see what the Hardys can do with MJF and Adam Cole. Or I figured it would have been the Kingdom, because the Kingdom, they have been integral parts in this MJF Adam Cole storyline, and we probably would have gotten the Kingdom potentially causing more of a rift between Adam Cole and MJF. But it seems like they're holding off on that. We could see that at Grand Slam, depending on who MJF fights for the World Championship. I guess we will have to wait and see. Maybe Adam Cole is in the tournament, and maybe Cole and Roderick Strong come down to the finals, and that determines who fights MJF at Grand Slam. That'll be interesting. But the Dark Order got it. Do I think that they're going to lose the championships? No. I don't think that they should take the titles off of MJF and Adam Cole just yet. I would actually like to see them get a bit of a run with it, considering that you elected to take the titles off of Aussie Open and you elected to put it on MJF and Adam Cole. It really wouldn't make too much sense for them to lose the championships legitimately 1 week after winning them. Then I'm going to question why you even put the titles on them to begin with. And I was actually a little pissed that Aussie Open kind of got shafted. But then again, Aussie Open, they could end up fighting FTR at some point. But in the end, we're getting the Dark Order. If anything, this could very well be another coming out party for the Dark Order. Because the Dark Order are easily one of the most underrated tag teams that company has. They're probably one of the most underrated tag teams in the industry. So if anything, this could very well be a scenario where the Dark Order shows up and they really take the world by storm, in a sense. Because last year, the Dark Order put on a fantastic trios match They put on a fantastic trios match alongside Hangman with the Elite at last year's All Out. So if we get that again, I mean, just saying, that would be one hell of a match. That would be one hell of a match if we get this match going 15, 16, 17 minutes in the Dark Order. They show up to work. You already know how good MJF and Adam Cole are. They're two of the best professional wrestlers of this generation. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be a damn good match. I just hate the fact that it was pieced together last minute. But I'm going with Adam Cole and MJF to retain the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. I honestly think that they're going to drag this out a little bit more. And I do believe that we could end up seeing a potential match between the Kingdom and maybe MJF and Adam Cole for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, probably at Wrestle Dream. We'll probably see that at Wrestle Dream. And maybe that's when the heel turn happens. Maybe that's when Adam Cole aligns himself with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. And maybe we see MJF recruit FTR and Wardlow. And maybe we see the Pinnacle versus the Kingdom with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, 8 versus 8. Maybe that's the feud to carry AEW through the fall season. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Should be interesting. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm genuinely intrigued. I'm genuinely intrigued to see how they play this out. And we're going to get a damn good match on Sunday. MJF and Adam Cole, Dark Order. Should be interesting. I see Adam Cole and MJF leaving with the titles. Luchasaurus, he's defending the TNT Championship against Darby Allin. I know my boy Little Stevie says that we could very well see Darby Allin win back the TNT title. I hope that that's not the case. Because the dynamic that Christian Cage and Luchasaurus have, it is a very, very wonderful dynamic. It is a wonderful dynamic, and this is something that is absolutely aiding the TNT Championship. This is great for the TNT title. It's great for Luchasaurus. It's great for Christian. And ultimately, it sets up a potential turn, and Luchasaurus will finally be rid of Christian Cage, because at some point, Luchasaurus is going to get tired of Christian Cage holding that title. At some point, Luchasaurus is going to say enough is enough. He's not just going to sit back and let Christian Cage parade around with a title that he didn't win. The story here is Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, and what exactly will happen that is going to cause a rift between the two. And on top of that, Christian is doing God's work right now. I don't know why anyone would even consider taking the title off of Luchasaurus when him and Christian Cage have really hit a nice stride. Plus, Darby Allin already got his big win. Darby Allin got his big win at All In with Sting in a coffin match with Swerve and Christian. So why exactly would anyone contemplate taking the TNT title off of Luchasaurus? Darby Allin already has gotten the upper hand over Christian Cage twice. He beat Christian Cage on Collision, number one, and he already beat Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland in a coffin match with Sting at All In. At some point, you got to give Christian Cage and Luchasaurus a little bit of an upper hand, right? I would give the win to Luchasaurus and then move on to somebody new. I'm not sure who else you would move on to. Maybe Hobbs. Maybe Miro. I don't know. I don't know. It's very, very odd. Maybe we see, I don't know. It's very, very weird. I mean, Darby's a good one. Miro's a good one. Hobbs is a good one. Maybe we see Roderick Strong mix it up in there a little bit. Maybe Christian Cage and Luchasaurus take a pit stop to Dynamite. Maybe he defends it against Hangman Page. Who knows? I wouldn't mind that. And Luchasaurus getting a victory over Hangman, that would be a big, big win. And it would really look good for the TNT Championship. Who else do you got on Collision? Either way, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage right now, That right there is a major, and I mean a major dynamic that is making Collision a good show. You do not want to fuck that up. I love Darby Allin, and I know that Darby Allin is easily one of the top tier faces of the company and a future pillar of the company. But in the end, in no way, shape, or form should he be winning the TNT title again. He's already had his moment with the TNT title. He doesn't need any more. I love Darby Allin, but he doesn't need any more. In the end, we should see Luchasaurus retain and Luchasaurus move on to something else. I'm not sure where Darby goes. If anything, I would not mind if Darby's on Dynamite a bit more. Maybe he feuds with the Blackpool Combat Club. I wouldn't mind Darby and Sting feuding with the Blackpool Combat Club. That would be interesting. Maybe Darby and Sting are recruited by Eddie Kingston to help him against the Blackpool Combat Club. It's a possibility. Not really sure what's going on there. Maybe Darby Allin goes after Orange Cassidy in the International Championship. That would be a solid match. That'd be a big-time match for Grand Slam. I don't think that we have seen, correct me if I'm wrong, I do not believe that we have seen a one-on-one match between Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin in AEW yet. I wouldn't mind that either. But in the end, Luchasaurus retains. He is the right man, along with Christian, to continue carrying that TNT Championship, ultimately, which will result in Luchasaurus having enough of Christian Cage when the time is right. And on top of that, you know for a fact that Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, when Christian ultimately has had enough of Luchasaurus, who do you think's going to be there? Who do you think's going to come into the company and stand alongside Christian? It's going to be Adam Copeland. Luchasaurus retains. Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. This is probably the match that I'm looking forward to the most, because you look at this match on paper, this right here is easily a 5-star match just because of who these guys are. I am extremely, extremely excited, and this is going to be one hell of a contest. And considering Konosuke Takeshita, he's coming off of a big win, I would not mind at all. If we do indeed see what is it? The turncoat, I guess. Konosuke Takeshita. I don't know. What is his nickname? Well, what are they calling Konosuke Takeshita? The Japanese Prodigy or something like that? I would not mind seeing Takeshita win against Kenny Omega again. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. Do I think that this feud should continue after All Out? Yeah. Yeah, I think that they could get some mileage out of this program. They can get a lot of mileage out of this program, considering that we have Konosuke Takeshita and Kenny Omega, and they got their own thing going on, and seeing as Kenny doesn't really have too much to do after Takeshita, because realistically, the next step after Konosuke Takeshita for Kenny would probably be MJF in the world title. That would probably be the next best step, is to give Kenny Omega a potential world championship match against MJF. And that match, you know for a fact, that match is good enough to headline a stadium show. For all we know, that could be the main event for All In next year at Wembley. For all we know. But Omega and Takeshita, I honestly believe that they could very well continue this feud going into Full Gear if they want to. Maybe they end it at Grand Slam. Omega already got the win over... Omega took a loss, and Takeshita got the win over Omega at All In, which was the right outcome. That was a big moment for Takeshita. Could he do it again? Maybe. Maybe the story that they're trying to tell is Omega is chasing to beat Konosuke Takeshita. They're trying to erase Kenny Omega and cut the elite out of all elite wrestling, and Takeshita is really getting the upper hand on Kenny Omega over and over again. It's kind of going to make Kenny Omega look weak, and Kenny Omega needs to come up from behind. He's playing that come from behind babyface, and Takeshita is the dominant heel being put into the spotlight with Don Callis. It's an interesting dynamic that they got going on over here, but if these two get 20 minutes, you give these guys 20 minutes, this is a 5-star match easily. 5-star match easily. In no way, shape, or form will this be anything less than a 5-star match. This is going to be one hell of a contest, to say the least. And I'm very much looking forward to it. However, I don't know. I don't know if they want to give Kenny Omega 2 back-to-back losses. Now, if Takeshita loses, I don't think he's buried. I think that just evens up the score. But to me, it seems as though Takeshita coming out victorious again, that would be the right outcome right here. Because ultimately, the motive here is to get Takeshita more over than he was after this feud. Kenny Omega and the Elite already won Blood and Guts. They won Blood and Guts. Takeshita won at All In. So Takeshita winning it All Out, that would probably be the best case scenario. I think I'm going to go with Takeshita to get the win here over Kenny Omega. And maybe we see another match at Grand Slam. Maybe we wait till Full Gear. Maybe we get something at Wrestle Dream. I know Tony Khan said that he wants to mix it up with Wrestle Dream and get Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling a part of the show as well. We'll wait and see what happens there. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that they should continue this to All Out, or they should continue this to Grand Slam, Wrestle Dream, or Full Gear? What is the proper place to end this program? Maybe a steel cage. Do we see Omega versus Takeshita in a steel cage match at Full Gear? Kind of similar to what we got last year at Full Gear with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Let me know what you guys think, but I do believe that Takeshita winning is the right outcome. FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold. Now, I kind of mind this, but yet I kind of don't. I mind it because I would much rather have FTR defend the titles on the show, but yet I don't mind this in a sense because, if anything, this will build on Bullet Club Gold's momentum. Because I don't see FTR and the Bucks winning here. Matter of fact, if anything, this is one of those setup matches that I've been talking about. This feels like a setup match where Bullet Club Gold are going to win. They could very well pin one of the Bucks. Bullet Club Gold wins, and then maybe we see part number 3 with Bullet Club Gold and FTR at Dynamite Grand Slam. I wouldn't mind it. So if at Grand Slam we get Kingston and Claudio Ring of Honor World Title, Statlander and who? Statlander and Tony Storm, TBS Championship. Cassidy and Darby, International Championship. Bullet Club Gold and FTR for the tag team titles. And then MJF defends the World Championship. That right there is one hell of a card. That actually looks better than All Out. That may be the best Grand Slam that they've ever done, if that's the case. So that's something I would not mind. That is definitely something that I would genuinely be interested in. But in the end, I do believe that Bullet Club Gold's going to get the win here. Bullet Club Gold got a win at All In. And Bullet Club Gold, considering that they lost to FTR last month, and FTR retained the tag team titles over Bullet Club Gold, it would make sense for Bullet Club Gold to gain some more wins behind them. They won it All In. You can have them win it All Out, have them pin one of the Bucks, and then we get the final match in the FTR Bullet Club Gold trilogy. Juice Robinson and Jay White versus FTR Grand Slam, and then FTR can retain the titles there. And that will be the end of Bullet Club Gold versus FTR. And FTR, I mean, they got a nice solid amount of challengers. They got some solid challengers coming up after All Out. Bullet Club Gold, House of Black, Aussie Open. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff, to say the least. Maybe the Dark Order. The Dark Order seemed to be on a resurgence. The Dark Order seemed to be on a resurgence, in a sense. Maybe the Hardys as well. Tag team division seems to be getting revitalized in AEW. And with FTR at the forefront, FTR have really been making those tag team titles feel important. They've been putting on bangers all year. So in the end, I do believe that Bullet Club Gold will be getting their third and final match with FTR, and FTR will finally close the book on the Bullet Club Gold trilogy. Bullet Club Gold is getting the win here over FTR and the Young Bucks, and Bullet Club Gold will get the tag team title match against FTR at Grand Slam. Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. And if we are going to be quite honest here, in my eyes, this should be the main event of the show. This is a perfect main event for the show. With CM Punk being out, CM Punk being suspended, and Jack Perry being suspended. Why not? MJF is not defending the World Championship on the show. CM Punk, more likely than not, is going to be suspended, and he's not going to be defending the real World Championship on the show. So why not give Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley the main event? Jon Moxley, clear as day, has been one of the top-tier MVPs of AEW. He always steps up. He was the Wrestler of the Year last year for 2022. Jon Moxley has been the Wrestler of the Year last year for 2022, and Orange Cassidy, who's been on the run of his life, who's made the International Championship one prestigious championship. Matter of fact, I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying that Orange Cassidy's international title run has been better than Roman Reigns' world title run coming out of WrestleMania. Why not give him the main event? It's a match almost 2.5 years in the making, where it was supposed to happen last year before Moxley went away to handle his alcoholism. I think that Orange Cassidy has more than earned this main event. It would be perfect for him and Moxley. Now, who wins? Honest to God, this is another unpredictable one because it really could honestly swing either way. I'm not really sure what exactly they would want to do. They could have Jon Moxley win, but in the end, Orange Cassidy getting that victory over Jon Moxley, I think that really would make Orange Cassidy. And him holding the championship for a year, surpassing that 1-year mark, that would really showcase to everyone that Orange Cassidy, if not already, I mean, if you don't already believe it, and if you're not sold on Orange Cassidy already, you should not be a pro wrestling fan. You shouldn't be watching the sport. Because Orange Cassidy has taken the ball, he has run with it, and he has made himself into a main event player. Whether you want to admit it or not, Orange Cassidy is a main event player, and it's about time that a lot of people start acknowledging that, because if you don't, you're ultimately going to end up looking like an idiot, because every single time Orange Cassidy comes out here and he steals the show every week with what he's doing. That match with Penta last night on Dynamite, fantastic. You think it's going to be any different against Moxley? No. Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley are going to go out there and they are going to step up. If there's two men that have earned it and two men that have absolutely stepped up, it's Moxley and Orange Cassidy. But I honestly don't think that Mox is going to win this. I think that he has a chance, but I don't think that he's the right guy to win this, because if anything, his beef right now really isn't with Orange Cassidy. His main beef is going to be with Eddie Kingston. Could we very well see Moxley and Kingston for the International Championship? Yeah, we could potentially see that, but ultimately, if Kingston fights Moxley, then Kingston would have to win, because Moxley doesn't need it. The whole point here is to help elevate Eddie Kingston. And if Kingston's going to beat Claudio, he's already going to have 2 championships. He's going to have a Ring of Honor championship, and he's going to have a New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight championship. So in the end, does Moxley really need this all-international championship? I almost said all-Atlantic again. Does Moxley really need this international championship in order to feud with Eddie Kingston? Does he? I don't think he does. If anything, I know a person that would benefit beautifully from beating Orange Cassidy. Malachi Black. Malachi Black would benefit perfectly from beating Orange Cassidy. Malachi Black would be absolutely picture perfect. He would be the perfect guy to beat Orange Cassidy, and he would absolutely be elevated to the stratosphere if he was to beat Cassidy. That's my guy. It's either him or Miro. It's either him or Miro. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but that's my guy to beat Cassidy. But it is really going to be a symbolic main event, a match that is 2 years in the making. And this match, if anything, I think this is really going to put the really hit the nail on the head with Orange Cassidy, with him not being taken like a joke anymore. Because if he's able to stand toe-to-toe with Jon Moxley, and he's able to put on a banger in a main event of a pay-per-view, albeit a pay-per-view that was pretty much pieced together last minute, but a main event of a pay-per-view nonetheless, a main event of a pay-per-view like All Out, and he gets his first pay-per-view main event and he beats Jon Moxley, I think that that's something that no one should take away from. Nobody should take away from, and that's something that is really going to push him even further up the ladder. He's a world champion. Orange Cassidy, after this international title run, he has proven that he is a world champion, right down to the very last letter. And if you deny that, once again, you should not be talking about this sport. At the end of the day, you may not like his gimmick, but the man is one of the most valuable individuals that this company has. He's a workhorse. He never bitches. He never complains. He does everything that he's been told to do. He's been a jobber. He's been an undercarder. He's been a tag team guy. He has done everything that the company has told him to do. He has not complained once. And now guess what? Now he has been rewarded. He's been rewarded. And he's doing some great material. He's doing some amazing material with the championship. And I could not be happier for him. I really could not be happier for him. He's a beast. Orange Cassidy is a beast. I predict that Orange Cassidy is going to beat Jon Moxley. And it's going to be a great moment. And I cannot wait to see everyone on social media complain and bitch and moan how Orange Cassidy is a joke. And yes, Moxley is MVP as per usual. And I think we should start putting Cassidy in that realm too. Because Orange Cassidy and this title run has made him. And a lot of people are going to come out of the woodworks and say, well, Orange Cassidy's title reign is not memorable. You're going to remember this title reign, you fucking retards. You are. You're going to remember this title reign. If anything, people shit on me when I posted on PWP Nation that Orange Cassidy has been a better champion coming out of WrestleMania than Roman Reigns. People are going to say, Roman Reigns' title reign, it's going to be unforgettable, and Orange Cassidy's title reign is not memorable whatsoever. How is anyone going to remember all these title defenses against undercard scrubs? Listen to me, motherfuckers. In the end, when it comes to these two title reigns, Orange Cassidy's title reign is going to be a title reign that you will want to remember, while Roman's title reign is going to be a title reign that you'll want to forget. Believe that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the final stream that I got for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, because that's the last time you're going to see me up until next Tuesday when I do the rewind for WWE Payback. No LFU over the weekend because I'm going to be down in North Carolina for my cousin's wedding, and it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be everybody Wang Chung tonight. Well, everybody Wang Chung tonight. Celebration around the world. I'm sorry, I just needed to get that one in there. Thank you very much for coming on in. You guys have been great. Thank you to Hula Grim. Thank you to Dylan. Thank you to Sarah Hapka. Thank you very much to Dee Dee. Thank you very much to Sean C. Thank you very much to everyone. James Punaseca as well. You guys have been awesome, and I greatly appreciate all of you stopping by on this Thursday afternoon. I'm going to get home. I'm going to take a shower, and I'm going to eat some dinner, and I'm going to have to get to bed early because it is going to be an early morning for DJ Shizzle Dizzle tomorrow, because we heading out on the road, and we heading out to North Carolina. Hopefully we'll be able to stop a little bit for breakfast, but it is going to be a rough one to say the least. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. You have all been fantastic. Go check out all the links in the descriptions. Like, comment, subscribe. Rewind for WWE Payback is next Tuesday, September 5th at 7:30 p.m. And then the rewind for All Out is next Thursday, September 7th at 7:30 p.m. And unfortunately, I am going to have to go back to work next Tuesday. Fuck me, I guess. Maybe I should have taken more of a vacation. But regardless, once again, thank you all. You've all been fantastic. And it's unbelievable. It's August 31st. The final stream for the month of August. It's August 31st. August 31st. And we're going into September tomorrow. Unbelievable. I can't even wrap my head around the fucking fact that the summer's over. I can't do it. My life is going way too quick. It's unbelievable. 2023 is almost over. Pretty soon, before I know it, it's going to be the end of September, and it's going to be 90s WrestleCon. It's going to be 90s WrestleCon, and I'm going to be at a table doing a live stream from the show. It's unreal. Absolutely unreal. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. I will be uploading some shorts over the course of the weekend as well, so you will get some DJ Shizzle Dizzle shorts over the weekend. But until next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rundown. I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day weekend and enjoy the end of summer. Enjoy the unofficial end of summer, although September's kind of an unofficial fourth month of summer. I'm looking forward to some decent weather in September, to say the least. Until next time, you already know the drill. Who runs the IWC? I want to see everyone type it out. Who runs the IWC? I think you already know the drill. Let me take a sip of my ice water. Who runs the IWC? Exactly. DJ motherfucking Shizzle Dizzle my nizzle. Who? The DJ motherfucking Storms. Don't you forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. For your luck with the